its best. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to the show. This is Relax Radio with me, Nick, and we got who we got here? We got Laura. Yeah, and
Hi.
Hey, Laura, what's happening? How you been?
I'm good, actually. Oh, today is fabulous. It happens to be my sister's birthday, so I know. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So,
do I get cake? I mean, you're just smiling and laughing. Cake.
Well, we'll see about that. We're kind of on a diet, so.
Oh wow, very convenient. When I ask for cake, you're on a diet. All right, you know what? Never mind.
We'll see how it goes.
Anyways, yeah, it is a Tuesday. I mean, it's a great Tuesday so far. It's almost the end of the month, and you know what that means? Payday.
Yep.
Payday is definitely around the corner, but for a lot of people, yeah, like I said, payday is happening. And yeah, if you guys are wondering what we're doing here, well, this is Real Talk, and we're going to be keeping you company all the way until 6 p.m. You know, we're keeping you guys company and talking about all the real things that is going on in the UK, in and around the UK. If you want to be part of the show, well, it's pretty simple. The numbers to do so are 07852 473 473. You know, you can always call us up and let us know what you guys' opinions are on any particular matter. And yeah, with that being said, you know, we are going to be discussing about the whole COVID situation in the country right now. You know, taking a look at all the whole COVID situation. There has been talks actually of, you know, I was just discussing it a while ago, how they are going to be, you know, they're going to scrap this whole isolation in school rules. So yeah, by autumn, this is what they're trying to say.
Honestly, I feel like this COVID has really affected a lot of students, you know, a lot of pupils. And now I'm hearing that the rate of infections and, you know, with it rising and stuff, more students are being sent home.
That is correct.
And this kind of just brings me back to the start of the whole pandemic, because schools all around the world shut down. It was massive. You know, and it really affected a lot of people's, a lot of students' education. So now reports are saying that there's been a sharp rise in people sent home from school in England because of COVID, you know, and they're saying that more than 375,000 pupils, that is 1 in 20, were out of school for COVID-related reasons. So I mean,
now that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Now that it's going back up, I mean, we just want to ask ourselves, are we going back to you know, phase one? Are we doing this charade or this whole thing all over
knock
again?
On wood, literally knock on wood. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't want that to happen. Like going back to the first stages, like where, you know, we were going through this whole drama of staying at home, being locked up and not being allowed to go outside. It was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that was I was in school. I was in my master's, you know, and I felt the pressure because it didn't really affect me as such because I had already like finished my curriculum, you know, we'd done everything. But I'm just thinking about other students, you know, who are still supposed to be in school now. So if this whole thing really goes out of hand, it just can slow down their education again. And the last thing we want is for kids to not, you know, to have any more backlog on anything they're supposed to be learning in school, because it's going to affect them psychologically, mentally, you know, not seeing their friends anymore. It's going to have a little bit of a trauma for children if this happens again.
I mean, looking at that though, I'm kind of glad I wasn't, you know, I'm not going to school anymore. In a way, I'm happy that I had my school life. But then, yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, a lot of these children are going through this situation where they're going to miss out on a lot of these activities. Yeah. You know, all these camps that they couldn't go to, or hikes with their friends, school trips, activities, all these activities, they will be missing out on it. And it's unfortunate, and it will definitely take a toll on their mental health. That is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And I wonder how the government is going to address this particular thing, though, because it's going to be unfair. I mean, you can't get the time that you've lost again.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're absolutely correct. That's the one thing, regrettably, that we can never get back. Once you've lost time, opportunities, you know, because it just only comes one time, you know. And they're saying now that absences of pupils in schools have quadrupled this month alone.
Wow.
You know, but what the government is saying now is that they've signaled a shift to more COVID testing for schools. That's going to be in September, you know. So rather than having to send home whole bubbles of students, of pupils.
Okay.
That's what they're trying to do now, so more COVID testing, to kind of fish out the kids that are safe and those that are
But
infected. I don't like to use that word,
but yeah, I mean, that's the harsh truth of it. We're trying to keep it real, and if you keep it
Yeah.
real, yeah, there's going to be a lot of these infected children as well, and it's unfortunate. But we also got to ask ourselves, if they're saying about how long can we do this though? I mean, when it comes to resources, when it comes to cost effectivity, how
Yeah.
cost effective is this going to be for us in comparison to quarantining at home? I feel quarantining at home is basically free. You're just 14
Yeah.
days at home, and it's okay. You're not putting anyone into any sort of harm, because look, the virus will take an incubation period of at least 2 weeks. So maybe, yeah, for 10 days you won't have it, but then by then you would have spread it around to at least everyone in your
Yeah.
class. And
Mhm.
I really don't see how effective this is, though.
I think my worry, to be honest, besides being cost effective or whatnot, is the impact on parents, because that is when a lot of parents get to work. They
is
take
true.
their kids to school, they go to
Yeah.
work. But if your child comes down with COVID or tests positive for COVID, they're sent home. Right. And
Yeah.
then they're asked to probably self-isolate, which will affect the parents. So it means parents won't get to work.
That
And
is true.
obviously, besides self-isolating, you can't exactly leave your kids at home,
No, you cannot. I
especially
mean,
for
yeah,
minors,
that is true.
and go
Yeah.
to work. You need to get a babysitter for them, or get a
Even then, it's very difficult.
childminder. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. And now it's almost impossible if your child tests positive for COVID. So it means you won't get to work. It means you won't get to make money. It means you would not get to provide food on the table. So a lot of things, it's like a whole chain that if you
Yeah.
just take out one, everything falls apart.
And it just shows, the fragility of our situation at this, particular stage in time where,
Yeah.
if children stay at home, there will be the situation where parents will have difficulty going back to work and all of that.
Yeah.
The offices will call you back, and they're going to be merciless. They'll be like, oh, you either come back or, you lose your job.
Yeah, of
And-
course. Yeah.
No,
I mean,
go on.
absolutely. It's like the implications. You can't be away from work for so long. Everyone is. I mean, if you're working for a company, you're entitled to annual leave, right? But then when that is up, if your child is at home, you either work from home or you quit or you're let go.
That is very difficult.
Exactly. And once you've lost a job, we all know how difficult normally getting jobs isn't. It's not exactly that easy, especially with this time. It's like,
Don't even get me started on that.
it's now double difficult. So yeah, it's when the government is making these decisions, they should also take into account families and parents that are going to suffer.
That is true.
Or all this. I mean, it's no one's fault if a child tests positive, because you need to still self-isolate that child, to protect other kids. But what is going to be the relief for parents? Is there going to be any form of compensation or whatnot for them? Or are they just going to be forgotten?
That is, I feel like right now the government is trying to, I think they're trying to avoid that as much as they can. That's why they're telling us, okay, what we're going to do is, instead of, maybe supporting or helping these families, that if they do, if they do put them into self-quarantine, these children, they self-isolate them, they will have to be required, to pay these parents, because they know that these kind of situations will arise. And to prevent that, they're doing this tests daily tests. And I don't know. I feel like it's a double-edged sword.
It's really, really sad, because right now 15,000 students have tested positive.
15,000. That is a lot of students.
Yeah, they're at home right now. Confirmed COVID cases, and now we're hearing 24,000 suspected cases.
Oh, 24.
So now the National Association of Head Teachers is right now saying, and I quote, "The government simply does not appear to have a grip on this situation." That was what Paul Whiteman of the National Association of Head Teachers said. So
he's not wrong there. He's not wrong there, though.
Honestly, it begs the question: what exactly are we doing? What are we doing?
All I know is I'm glad I'm not in the government right now. Yeah, because I would also be tearing my hair finding an answer because they're looking right now what they're trying to do. I feel like the government is trying to mitigate the cases and they're trying to take the most low risk of it all. So what's
Yeah,
the most low risk? And what are we gonna lose? If we let people do this, what's the risks? What are the implications? And
yeah, of
they're
course.
assessing all these things. And right now they're saying, okay, this is our best bet. We make these kids come every day to school. It's stupid. If you ask me, it's stupid because there's still the chance of them getting the virus. But then also they're thinking about, okay, what if these kids' parents, they have to go back to work? You can't get a nanny anytime soon. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you get 2 jabs, you will have to do these tests, and not a lot of
Mhm.
people will be coming forward because they're afraid of the risks. And even if you do get a nanny, you can't really send her back home because, like I said, we don't know where she's going to or wherever she
Yeah.
might be. So there's that risk as well. So they're taking all of these, I feel, into account, and they're saying, okay, you know what? The best action plan that we can do right now is make sure that children go back to school, and yeah,
Yeah.
we get them tested every single day. It's not going to make a
Mhm.
big difference. I mean, there's the cases will still rise. It's inevitable.
Yeah. But now that they're sending kids home at this point, I'm trying to just imagine how it's gonna affect them, their social lives. And it's like because if you're sending kids to school and you're saying, okay, obey the social distances, children will be children. They're not going to be as organized as grown-ups, as adults. They forget things easily. It's just that time of their age, and then
That
it's
is
like
true.
you're trying to say, oh, don't touch the next person. They're kids, they love to play, they're going to want to, so
That's bound to
maybe.
happen. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
correct.
So, I mean, how much restrictions exactly are they putting in schools to avoid rising cases? That's the question. If you're saying don't hug, it's impossible in schools with students, with pupils. I remember when I was young, every time it was, you didn't really take a lot of things into account. You would swear and then you'd sweat and then you would hug your friends and then you're all
Yeah,
laughing.
that's true.
Very goofy
That is true.
age of a person's life.
Yeah,
So it's not
I
like
mean,
trying to get grown-ups to do this and do that. We all know our brains are more developed.
yeah, I mean, you can't ask a child to not go and take her friend's pencil or eraser or whatever it could be. I
Yeah.
mean, it's gonna happen. They're children. I mean, this is bound to happen. So it's very difficult for me. I mean, look, in one hand, it's very complicated if you look at it. In one hand, children need to go back to school. That's
Yeah, of
important
course, of
because they
course.
need the interaction with
Absolutely.
other children. They need
Yeah.
to see other
Yeah,
people,
education, very important.
education as well. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, though, we are also in a way we're endangering the children because what we're doing is we're opening up the avenues for more cases to occur, and that's something that's a problem, a rising concern right there.
Yeah, but now the question is it enough to just send children home? If a child comes down with COVID, send them home. What next? What happens? Are they just sent home and that's the last of it? Oh, self-isolate for 10 days and then you're back to school?
Yeah.
What,
Uh,
what's the way forward? What's the aftermath? Fine, they self-isolate at home and their parents have to stay at home with them and they can't work for like 2 weeks or whatever. What
what if it's a
next?
single parent? Yeah. What if it's a single parent too?
Do you
Even
know what I mean?
worse.
So yeah. So what happens? What happens after that? Is the government thinking about these things? Or is it just, oh yeah, let's send all the kids home, or oh, if you've got this, just
I think right now the government is just playing it by ear because me listening, you when you ask these kind of questions, I bet every other person as well asks these kind of questions as well. They want to know
yeah.
the answers, and the government is baffled because they have no answer. They have no response for this. They can come up with fancy words of this X, Y, and they will say something like in these very, very, very fancy words, big words that half of the time doesn't even make sense. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they just want to throw us off, and I feel like right now the government is avoiding they're avoiding thinking about that particular thing that you have discussed, and you trying to bring up the point. Yeah, they don't want to think about, okay, what do? We put these kids at home, but then yeah, who's going to take care of him? What if there's a single parent who's taking care of
Yeah,
maybe 2 kids? How is that
yeah.
going to work?
And more importantly, how are they going to continue their education? Are they
That
going
is
to
true.
be homeschooled? Are their teachers going to follow up with their education? Or you probably missed 10, 14 days. Are they bringing textbooks to their homes, sending them by mail or whatever? These questions, how is it going to affect their education? Because they're going to be behind on things that have been taught. So it's going to mess up with them, their head, their knowledge. They're going to feel like they're just being treated differently.
Yeah, that definitely going to cause a rise to concern. And then, a lot of these things, I don't really know what the government is thinking on right now. They're thinking about all these things. Oh, we're going to open up the country. We're going to open up football and all of that. But then, important things like this might seem like a little problem. They're like, oh, no, that's not a big deal. But we have to realize this is very important as well. We have to consider there are people out there who are trying to fend for themselves at the moment.
Yeah,
and it's very
of course.
difficult. And then you sometimes, you ask these kids to stay at home and all this. It's a hassle. I don't know what to even say about that particular thing.
Yeah, it's just this is a time where everyone needs to be careful. But as much as we're making decisions and as much as we're saying do this and do that, we need to think about the implications, and we need to think about like a plan B. Oh, fine. This happens. Plan A, you go home. Okay, plan B, what happens if going home is going to result in something that we did not plan or we did not expect, or even if we expected it, maybe we didn't even think it was a big deal.
Yeah, that is
so
true.
What next?
I wonder how the government will handle this as well. I mean, if you guys know, and if you have any opinions on that, and if you have at least half of the answers that, to the questions that Laura have asked, well, hit us up, let us know. 07852 473 473. That's right. And also don't forget, you can download the app from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store to carry us all day, every day. But with that being said, we're going to be taking a real quick break and taking a look at your time right now, though. It is 4:26. Good evening. Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, if you think about it, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I've been doing this for quite some time. Hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. Okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
and it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts, mainly one because they're nice and bright. So they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. I mean, that's very important, right? Because you want cars,
Very important. And also, like, people see me in, like, calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on air, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
Radio at its Relax Radio.
Back to the show. This is Relax Radio with me, Nick. And we got Laura as well, keeping you guys company. Oh, yeah, there was a little bit of a backdrop right there. Yeah, apologize for that. But we're going to be keeping you company all the way until 6 p.m. That's right. This is Real Talk with me, Nick, and Laura. And we're talking about all the things that is going on in the UK right now. And Laura, you said you have actually some interesting stuff that you brought up recently with me. What's that all about?
So I was just looking, and I was reading a story about the police officer that was convicted for manslaughter.
Okay.
Of the former football player. Atkinson. This happened. This happened in 2016.
Okay.
He died in 2016, and it was back and forth, court hearings and all of that stuff. And now the police officer has been found guilty and jailed for 8 years. I watched a video where the Dalian's girlfriend, was talking about him, saying he was a very shy person. He was someone who made her feel safe. He always brought out the best in her. And this is just another case of what a lot of people would term as injustice,
police brutality.
Police brutality, injustice, it's just an attack on Black people and all of that. It kind of just reminds me of all the things that have happened especially with George Floyd. That
it's unfortunate, right? I'm sorry to cut you in there, but it's unfortunate. It took so long for people to actually, for it to get attention like this. Like it had to cost a person's life for people to actually start considering this and start moving forward. It's really, I feel, like, why do we have to lose a life for people to realize the importance of the other people as well?
It's like right now, George Floyd right now, he's seen as a martyr. It's like, he is, and to be honest, the reality is most times people don't realize. Well, it's not like all these things we don't know about them, right? It's not like racism was never in existence. It's just that now with the coming of age, technology, social media, everything's happening. Upgrades of phones. Now we have camera phones in 4 HD or 4K HD and all of that. So back then we didn't have camera phones. So if anything was happening, you look the other way or you just walk away, right?
Or
but
you just
now,
walk away.
No one, But now no one sees injustice and just keeps quiet about it. So it's just with time, but it's just unfortunate that George Floyd had to die to kind of remind everyone that this is a big problem for years.
It is. It paid Yeah, even to think about it. I mean, I'm saying all this, it pains me to see that we had to lose a person to realize the, importance of all of this, and how, we've been taking everything for granted. And
Yeah.
a lot of people have been taking it for granted. For me, I know people, I mean, in the States, who live in the States, and they are afraid. They tell me they're afraid, and they're really like, there's nothing sketchy about them. Like, they're the most amazing people that I know. Okay, they always try to put them into a sort of stereotype. Okay, they're X, Y, and Z. They're either this, they do that. They're amazing people. They're nothing like that. But they're afraid. Even they are afraid to go on the streets at night, especially when a cop stops them. They're afraid. They start shaking, and they tell us, don't ever stop. We always have to follow the rules and all that. And they impose it more on me than on them. That's how much it is, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. I'm just going to say something about people who are, it's really sad that back in the 40s, 50s, it was more like that. I feel like anybody who still has a problem with the way you look, or with the way you sound, or with the color of your skin, you're not only ignorant, but you're just stupid.
You're a bigot.
In my opinion. You're bitter, you're petty, you have a problem with yourself. You obviously don't have good self-esteem. You're not confident about yourself, so you want to make another person feel bad. It's not like there's something wrong with them, but you are fighting your own inner demons, and then you're trying to take it out on the next person. Why? Because they don't look like you. We live in a universe where there are so many billions of people who are not going to look like you. You need to own up, and that is why I always tell people: get exposed, travel, embrace other cultures and races.
That is true.
Not everyone is going to look like you. And if you have a problem with people, associating with you, or someone once told me one time, why do we have a lot of Asians or Black people coming into our country? They should all just F off. And I'm like, if you come to my country, I'm Nigerian. If you come to my country, there's a lot of white people. There's a lot of British people. You don't see us
doing the same,
or screaming at them or spitting at them or trying to be. Do you know what I mean? And
I could have said the same thing during the colonial period. When you were colonizing, I didn't see us complaining. I mean,
and it has nothing to do with who is superior or who is inferior. It's just we're all human beings.
Yes, it's the mentality. People think that they are better than you just because we've bought into this preconception, rather, that people are this notion that these are what we should strive to be. I mean, no, we're perfect the way we are.
Absolutely. And growing up, I was never this confident. I was actually a very shy kid. But I did not grow up in England.
Still very hard to
I did not grow up. Honestly, I didn't grow up in the UK. I only just came here like few years ago, but it's like I've learned to appreciate myself and love myself, so nobody can actually make me feel a certain way. But if we're talking about this story now, we're talking police officers, policemen, the law. Yeah. If any other person is being racist, you should be able to put them in check, not join them. You're supposed to know good and bad, and you're supposed to distinguish and separate the two. So when the world is judging someone because their skin color is darker, or because they don't speak perfect English, of which there's no gold medal for who speaks the perfect English. There's nothing like that. Seriously, if you've got an accent, it obviously means you know how to speak another language, and that's nothing to be ashamed of.
No, it's not. I mean, it's like this. For me, the biggest problem, from this whole thing that we were talking about right now, the biggest problem is when the people who are supposed to keep you safe don't make you feel safe. That is a very big problem for me. I mean, even for me, when I travel, sometimes I'm afraid. There are days where I'm afraid, where I'm like, okay, what do I do? Because you hear the stories, and personally, I have personal friends, people who've gone through these kind of things. And then, you get this kind of paranoia in your head. You're like, okay, anytime something will happen to me as well. And that's unfortunate, where you want to trust into the justice system, into the police system. But you find it very difficult right now because there's this, there is this sort of bias, I'd like to say.
You shouldn't, as a person, you should not walk the streets with fear. Or in fear, unless you probably borrowed some money and then you haven't paid back, and then that the person is
Laura, you sound like You sound like a shark right now. Have you?
No, seriously, unless you're owing somebody money and you're like, oh, they might actually be around, then you shouldn't walk in fear. You should walk proud. And everyone, I feel like we should all learn to respect each other. And it's I've got a brother, a younger brother, right? He lives in Sunderland. I always worry about him. I shouldn't have to worry about him.
That is,
my only worry is probably when are you gonna bring a girlfriend home, or when are you getting married? That's the only worry. I should be worried.
You sound like your mom right now.
I mean, I am 4 years older.
Yeah, wow. But yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's the only worry I should worry about. But I shouldn't worry about calling him at 10 p.m. I'm like, oh, what you doing? He's outside. Get back in. Be safe and be. Yeah, if anyone tries to make you, do you know what I mean? And then we're not talking about any random person. We're talking about the police. So it's just
that is right.
It's just like the case of Matt Hancock. A lot is expected from you, and then when you just betray, when you treat people differently, and not in a good way.
Yeah, that's true.
Because of the way they look, or because it doesn't tell good of you as a person.
That's true.
You definitely don't deserve to be in that position. That's for sure. And it's good to see now that, unlike back in the day when nothing was being done, back in the day when white and black could not even be seen walking
together. I know that. It's horrible to even think that there was a time like that.
I'm glad I wasn't born at that time. I'm glad. My fiance is white, and I always am like, back then,
that would have been a problem.
It would have been a problem, but it's now.
I think it was Abraham Lincoln. There was a story with him as well, right? The same thing, like the same thing that he couldn't walk with his wife on the same side of the street or something like that.
I'm not sure. I don't really know much about American history, but I do know that what's this African country? God, I can't remember it right now. But that was a clear case of what happened. I watched it on Netflix actually, and it was kind of like a history of how they met. His wife was British, and the two governments were like, "No, this is not happening." They tried to separate them, but love prevailed. But in the end, these are not just. I mean, in the end, police officers are just people. No matter what position they hold, they are just people. But people with a higher position, people with more authority and power.
That is true.
So you should be different.
That is right. I mean, yeah, we are addressing. I mean, the police are supposed to make you like they have to make you feel safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're supposed to be in fear of the police because you didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
I don't know. There's a lot, to be talked about this particular thing.
I know people who have been stopped, and every time I hear that, police officers stop them for no just cause, it's like just stopping random checks, of which I always tell people, get yourself educated. Know your rights. In all honesty, you need to know your rights. The last thing you want is to not know your rights and then have someone stop you for no just cause. And you would know if you genuinely did something. Probably you didn't change your lane in time, or you stopped where you shouldn't have stopped. But
that's all right.
Yeah, you would know if it's a different thing. Yeah. Your instincts will just tell you, okay, this has not got to do with anything but the way I look or the way I sound. That is sad, I'm just really happy that justice has prevailed, and right now he's going to jail for 8 years. And Derek Chauvin, the police officer found guilty of killing George Floyd, is also in prison. I'm not sure, but I think it's
a lifetime.
22 years, I think.
Yeah. It was a lifetime sentence.
Yeah.
I mean, he was about to get a slap on the wrist, but then, it's because people pushed forward and actually fought for this that he is in jail right now. And that's, that's a step forward. That's very important because, look, you have no right to take anyone's life. And what did he do? He didn't go and murder someone. was it justifiable to do that? I can go on a rant on this all day talking about this particular thing. I mean, I think even you would have your opinions on this. We can go on for hours.
Tell you what, I've written articles about the BLM movement.
Yes.
I've written stories about it, and in the case of Derek Chauvin and George Floyd's death, that was pure abuse of power, like a lot of cases of police brutality. It's just you're wearing a uniform. You feel like you're God. You feel like, oh, you're standing on top of the world, and then you can just harass anybody. And then they probably harass people, and the bad cops or the bad police officers probably take money out of whoever they can. And then some of them even do it way worse to a Black person, an Asian person, even if you're white, you have an accent.
Yeah, they can incriminate you. They can, it's for me, it's very, there is this fear, like, a cop right now, there's this fear, if you go and sometimes you're clean, you don't have anything on you, but then when they frisk you or something, they can all, you've seen the movies, where they can plant something inside of you and you don't even know that you have it.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of situation that, we're trying to avoid. And like the whole George Floyd situation, did he really need to put his knee on top of that guy's throat? No, he didn't have to. He could have just handcuffed him, put him on the side. Okay, fine. I mean, there's so many ways he could have handled that situation. And look at what had happened. But I think in a way,
go on.
That was something that needed to happen. I feel like that is something that needed to happen. Because because if it didn't happen, we wouldn't have addressed this issue right now. This issue wouldn't have been addressed. In a way, that when this happened, a lot of people started realizing, like, this is not right.
Definitely.
Otherwise, we would have just taken it for granted. Even for the next 5-10 years, we won't even know. We will just keep on taking it for granted, and we wouldn't even have realized.
Yeah.
So in a way, yes, it's unfortunate that a person had to die for something like this. But then
most times, most times when a change has to happen, it will cost a life. Somebody would have to die. It's sad, but that's the reality of it. And
it pains my heart even saying it like that. It just puts a lot of strain just thinking.
No, but I mean, if we're being real on the show,
if
we're being real, that is just how it is. And unfortunately, he had to be the I'm not gonna say the scapegoat, but he had to be the example to show a lot of people that this is not okay in this day and age. But I also say something that people who are discriminatory, and people who are racist or people who just have a problem with you for one thing or the other, it's like they don't want to get to know you first. They don't even care who you are and stuff. I feel like you just scared. You feel like how do I feel?
I know
you feel superior to me, but the reality is I'm actually bigger than you. I mean, I'm actually superior than you. Because why are you afraid of me? You probably hate me.
What did I do? Yeah,
exactly. Am I intimidating you? Like, you feel like I'm gonna beat you up, or what's the fear exactly?
I think people do have that. Like, there's this thing where where they don't know something. For example, food. When they see us, there's some of these foods, that they see they don't like that food, and they're pretty against that. I'm like, okay, it's just food. He needs that food. That's his culture. He eats. That's how he eats these food. What's your problem? It's not like he's feeding you.
You just brought up a memory. I mean, something that happened to me very recently. This was like a few months ago, right? I was at work, and there was this colleague of mine who tried to. I don't know if she was trying to say that, she was walking through the door, and myself and my colleague, we were going on our breaks, right? And then she said she asked us to hold the door for her, and we didn't. First of all, I did not come to work to hold anybody's bloody door, right? Secondly, if you asked me and I didn't, I probably didn't hear you when you said that. I mean, I don't have a problem. If I see you pushing something, or if I see that you're right behind me, it's courtesy. I'll just hold the door for you. But on that day, she was very rude, insulting, because we were having a lunch. She was saying all sorts, insulting what we were eating and everything. And I don't know, maybe she'd done it to other people, other staff, other Black people, other agencies, that I really don't know what it was. But I told myself, I'm like, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of being quiet and making you feel like you can talk to anybody like that. So I did, and I like to talk and I like to say what I want to say, take it or leave it. So I really told her off, and when
I can imagine,
And I go to the manager, Nick. I'm like, I'm African. I eat what I want to eat. This is my culture. It's different from yours. It's simple respect. If I walk into the staff room and I don't like the smell of what you're eating, I get my stuff and I'll just walk out.
Yeah.
Right. Not to make you feel like crap.
Belittle you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I mean, okay. For me, I can argue there because unless of course it's a Filipino dish. There's this one Filipino dish. It smells like puke. It's that bad. Even for us, we know it's bad. It smells bad. So yeah, unless it's a food like that and we bring it to a place where a lot of people will smell it, like durian, for example. I don't know if you've tried durian. So durian is the same thing. It smells. You can smell it a mile away. I would never put another person in a room like that.
Yeah, but Nick, in the end, honestly, like I really don't care what it is that you're eating. If I walk in the place, it's a kitchen, right? Yeah. You're eating. Unless it's a toilet. I'm like, oh, it smells really bad. But if I walk into a place where people are eating, even if it smells like crap, you have to give that person the respect and not say anything about it. Even if you don't like the smell of it, you walk away. But that time, from my experience, I had to tell the manager, I'm African. And I'm going to come back tomorrow with this food, or probably with one that smells even worse. I
love how you just want to poke it. You're like, yeah, you know what? You were messing with me. I'm gonna poke you back harder.
It's like, I'll be back. Don't think you've got me, and don't think you can just mess with me. So I feel like people also, as much as everyone should respect each other, and police officers should learn to be better and do better.
That is true.
For everyone,
For me, I feel like at the end of the day, I remember what my mom always says: if you have nothing to say, nothing good to say, well, don't say anything at all. Just be quiet.
Exactly.
Why is it so hard? I mean, why is it so hard for some people? Okay, you don't like a certain type of people or whatever. Shut your mouth. Just stay aside. I mean, you don't like them. You don't have to like them. They are not asking for your liking, or they don't want your validation. Who do you think you are?
Yeah. It's like at that point, because my colleague was like, she was trying to tell me, please don't, just be calm. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be calm. I'm like, you're not paying my bills. You're not paying my salary. You're not paying my transportation, my fuel. You're not paying. You have no contribution to my life whatsoever.
Hell,
so you don't have the right to make me feel less than I am.
That's true.
So
that is true.
Period.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, unless it's durian, I'm telling you, I will never put you in a room. Laura, I will never put you in a room with durian there. Trust me, people from my own country will die. That's how bad it smells.
I probably would just walk in and be like, something smells funky. But like, that's about it. Because if I see that it's food and you're eating there, I don't know what it is. It's not my culture. And it may smell bad, but it may taste amazing.
Oh yeah, it tastes.
That's the irony of it. So,
I'm not gonna get into the details.
I mean, it depends on who cooks it. It depends on who makes the food. But
that is true. That's true. Of course. I mean, yeah. Like we have to realize, we take a lot of culture from every culture. What we have right now, our culture, although it is what it is, we take from every kind of culture as well.
Definitely, yes, that is absolutely right.
How can you hate another culture? If like that, I'll hate the numbers, in the numericals, because the numbers are found by Indians and Arabs. I mean, it's there right there. I mean, what are you even going on about? Half of the things that we do, and the dishes that we make right now, popular dishes as well. These are not our own dishes, not the UK's dishes, and not exclusive.
Exactly.
It's around the world.
Yeah, it's just like saying, oh, you don't like Asians, but you love Chinese food. Like, that do Mexicans make Chinese food? Who makes Chinese food? Chinese make Chinese. So you can't, it's simple. You can't say, oh, I don't like black people, and then Beyonce is number one fan. Sorry, your Beyonce's number one fan.
Yeah.
Right. She's your number one celebrity. Or you don't like black people, and then you braid your hair, you do all them long braids and all that, and
it raises an eyebrow. Yeah,
where did you get that from?
Beyonce, yeah. I mean, yeah, you love Beyonce, all the single ladies, you sing all these songs,
Yeah, but you
and you
just
don't
don't like.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that
don't
that
want
that.
that.
I think it's all about acceptance. So the situation like that, like I said, these things where a lot of these people had to die for the awareness to be even be raised is really sad. It's unfortunate, but
Yeah,
in a way, it had to happen. If this didn't happen, this is essentially like an avalanche. It's just that small bit that happened right now, and now it's
yeah,
escalated into a big situation, and people are being more aware, and what we're doing is we're trying to fight systemic racism. Right now, the government is saying, "Oh, we don't have that in the UK." In a review, I read that. You're rolling your eyes, but the government did write a review, and they said, "Oh, we
Hmm.
don't see any evidence or any proof of systemic racism in the UK. In fact, we are the number one people when it comes to accepting other cultures." That's what they say in this review. I know you're looking at me
That's
like
what
I
they
am.
want to think. That's what they want to believe themselves. But it's like you're living in denial,
Yeah,
or you just intentionally not wanting to accept it. It's there is sadly there's racism everywhere in every should I don't know in
in
every
every aspect
you
of
want to
life.
look at it.
Yes, that is very
Yeah,
true.
and in this case of this policeman who was sentenced to 8 years in prison, right? Apparently, his conviction is believed to be the first time in modern British criminal justice history that a UK police officer has been found guilty of the manslaughter of a black person.
Oh,
Like,
the
yeah,
the
the first
first time.
35 years.
Okay, that they did take their time. Wow, you're telling me in 35 years, no cop has made a mistake.
Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, obviously, we know they've made a mistake, but it just
Oh,
hasn't come out because
yet.
35 years. How old was I then?
I
The
think I
first,
wasn't even born.
yeah. So a lot of things had not come out as such. So it's understandable. But now that things are coming out into light, I think a lot of police officers are gonna, be more careful.
Yeah, that they should. I mean, there is a lot of these problems going on. You can see these protests and all still happening. And even recently, there was I think, an advocate who got shot. Actually, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. She was a black
Sha-
activist.
I think she was Sasha Joan or something. I can't remember her name
Yeah, I
exactly.
think she
Yeah, yeah,
went. She from what I read, she went to a party,
yeah.
and yeah, when she was about leaving or so, they said this gang just pulled up and shot. And now, what they're not telling us if she was a prime target or
Yes,
if it
that
was
is.
just a mistake or she just
Yeah,
happened to be there when it happened. Yeah, but obviously, it's going to raise a lot of eyebrows
eyebrows. True. That is true.
because how come an activist and she was not was because she's still alive, but she's
Yes,
fighting for her life now.
yeah, that
She's
is
still
true.
in intensive care, but it's like
How come the investigations are not being looked into this yet? Why are they not looking into this even more? Like, why they're not making it a priority as well when it comes to these cases? I Yeah, I know it's frustrating. I know you can see it. I can see it on your face, and you can hear from mine. It is frustrating,
it's
but
sad
it
because
is
they,
the
they,
fact.
they need to have people to actually chase after them
That is
to
true.
say no, we're not going to let this die down. Look into it. What's been you can't you're not gonna we're not gonna let you just sweep this under the rug. What's
That is true.
happening?
I
Give us
mean,
the updates. So
it's not only the whole BLM thing. Also, right now, immigration, people who come in from other countries as well, they're being detained in these facilities. There was also a conversation, actually. I think it was the foreign minister, was it? Yeah, who was saying that, okay, what we're going to do is the people who come from these countries like Germany or something, and they seek
yes.
refuge in the UK, well, we're going to send them back. And yeah, it raises my eyebrows, and I'm like, okay, isn't the UK the forefront when it comes to aid, when it comes to helping people?
Mhm.
So what's going on? Are you going back on your word?
We were talking about immigrants and immigrant children. I feel like America kind of tops the list,
Yeah.
because I was watching this documentary and it was like an investigative journalism where they were kind of revealing the what to call it, the tents and the camps where they
Okay, the tents
feed
and the
these
camps. Yeah.
children. So like when families come in, they probably deport the parents or they send them back, but they let the children stay. My question is, why would you separate
A family.
a family? Why? What for? Like, are you gonna house that child? Are you gonna?
I
adopt
feel bad. I feel bad. So my feelings are a little hurt. I don't feel right if I send the child away as well. I'll keep the child. That's that's what they must be thinking. They're like, oh, just it's like on their conscience. They're trying to lift that from their conscience. They're like, oh, we'll send the parents away, but we'll keep the kid because I feel it doesn't feel right if I send the kid also.
Honestly, it's enough for a child. When a child loses their parent, they send that child to foster care, right? They put them in the system and all that. So this child just they've still got their parents, they've still got their mom and their dad alive. So why would you make them feel like they're orphans? Like they can't reunite with their families and all of that. But that is just like a whole other discussion, Nick.
Yeah, I know.
Immigrants and the child.
Oh yeah, we have a lot to talk about that. I mean, always, we always have a lot to talk about right here on Real Talk, where we try to keep it real 100%. But yes, we're going to be taking a real short break real quick, and we will be right back after this. And we'll be back for the final stretch of the show. And taking a look at your time right now, though, it is 5 on the dot. Good evening. Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. If you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that will improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, if you think about it, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I've been doing this for quite some time. Hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. Okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
There's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods, they're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, The differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends, and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? And the company may still have value, it may still be doing quite a good things.
Radio at its best. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to the show. This is Relax Radio. Hey, Laura, I was seeing a profile pic right there. We are in the final few stretches of the show, and we're discussing about all the things that is going on in the UK and all of that. And recently, there's been good news. So Scotland has actually been releasing their rules on eases for weddings and funerals. So if you want to get married, you know where to go.
So you're trying to have to go to Scotland now to get married.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the topic of discussion at hand. I mean, we're excited about it, so you can go to Scotland now. There's nothing holding you back.
Honestly,
you have
compared to the story we read yesterday, about, was it not Scotland that was trying to open up the football stadiums? Compared to that, this is what should be, top priority, not opening the football stadiums, because at least weddings have a bit more control.
Okay.
And
I mean, there's a flaw in your argument. Though. I mean, look at it.
It's a wedding. It's not a nightclub.
Okay, listen, Laura. I mean, for you, priority, yes, for you, it's important. Wedding, this is how we think, this is very important in its priority. But then for some people, football comes into priority as well. It's higher than a wedding for them. There's gotta be, I mean, if you, I don't know about your fiance, whether he's a football freak, but he is. So you can ask, you know what, never mind, don't even ask him. But, looking at all the limits, there will no longer be any sort of limits on guests in Scotland. So people can get married now in Scotland without any sort of limits on their guests. And it seems like, you can invite any person that you wanted now in your wedding. I don't want to invite anyone. I mean, it's unfortunate now that if I want to get married, it can't be a budget marriage anymore. I'll have to invite the whole, the bandwagon.
It's like, honestly, that was why we just had to put our wedding on hold, because when they started with the whole 30 guests, I'm like, my cousins are way more than 30. So if we're really talking about that, that's not going to happen, because I mean, I come from a big family, my dad, there's 6 kids, and like 3 of their them have 6 kids of their own. So it's like many cousins. So I mean, not everyone's gonna come, but you just want to invite them still. So it's not like, oh, you just ask me
invite us for the wedding
or something like that.
Yeah, they just gotta do voodoo magic on you. They're like, oh, I'm gonna curse you and all of you if you're not inviting me. Oh, we have all of that. That drama.
Yeah, I don't want to form any enemies. I mean, I really don't care about inviting a lot of people, to be honest. But it's like I just want to be good to everybody.
I mean, for me, the problem is, if anything, it's the aunties. Yeah, the aunties are the ones, the aunts, they are the ones that will cause.
Yeah.
My cousins will be cool. They'll be like, oh, you didn't invite us. I'm like, hey, don't worry, though. I got you for my other party. You know, when we have something.
10 years
cool.
down the line, it's like, like how you didn't invite us for your wedding. I'm like, that was 10 years ago. How are you still harboring resentment because of what happened 10 years ago? You know, but I think my only worry with Scotland is just like the UK saying no dancing, no hugging, you know, face masks. Like, we can lift the restriction, right? Because I think England has also lifted the restriction.
It has. It's earlier than Scotland. They have actually.
Yeah, but then again, if I'm can I still do the things I normally do at weddings? Can I hug people? Can I
cut the cake?
Can I cut the cake? You know, can we take pictures? Can we sing? Can we dance? Can we play some music?
It's important. Yeah, I mean, that is what makes the wedding. I mean, that's what makes the wedding.
Definitely. I mean, I only know for funerals that everyone is in tears and in black, and then there's no singing, no music whatsoever, because it's a mourning period.
Yeah, of course.
But weddings are for celebrations. You know, celebrated. So
I mean, I don't know funerals. What the funerals that I went to, I'm telling you, those funerals are lit. They crazy. They start playing card games and they're all happy. I'm like, and the whole point is, you know, so that people who pass away, like, you're not sad. You are grieving. You are unhappy. But the person who has passed away, he'd like you to be happy. He doesn't want to exactly. On his funeral. So that's the whole point of it. People think, oh, these guys are heartless. And I'm like, no, that's not that. The whole point. I think
it just has to do with cultures, because in my culture, it's like, that is when it's funerals. And I'm not even joking. I'm being real. It's at funerals that they serve the best meals, the most delicious food. That is when everyone is
even better than weddings.
To get a plate of fried rice or a plate of chicken, and it's like, this tastes really nice. But you know, it's just about cultures, because some cultures don't do that. Some cultures just mourn all day.
Yeah, they're there. I mean, I remember when we had one recently, one of our relatives. Yeah, it was really different, because it's like, you know, people. It's not like somebody passed away; you wouldn't notice it. So, but then, you know, for me, you know, getting all this unlimited number of people into these funerals or weddings, it still poses a risk. I don't know. For me, I still feel like it's a little of a rush, because there's going to be the probability, although they say, okay, there's no hugging involved, you can't touch people or anything like that. It's going to happen. I mean, if you don't do that, then what's the point of the wedding? You might as well just get a registration at home.
I think there are ways you can do these things. First of all, whoever's coming for your wedding has to be vaccinated. There is no other choice. It's like, if you want to come to my wedding, you need to show proof that you've had your vaccine, and you still need to do a test. You know, so at least you're sure, you're 100% sure that the people you're inviting to your wedding are safe.
That is true.
Do you know what I mean? So even if you had vaccine like a week ago, but you still need to do the test like a day or two before that day. So no matter what happens, we're sure that you're safe, and that's it. You know, you can still hug when you know that everyone in the building is covered.
And there's no chance of getting, you know. Then I think, if everyone's vaccinated, then you can always you can have a party or anything like that, because then people are vaccinated, right?
Yeah, and it's not just vaccinated. There are negative results to the COVID tests.
I think that then it's feasible. Then you can do a wedding. I think then a wedding can happen.
But there are a lot of people, you know, that's why I said something about priorities. There are some people who really, really need to get married. For example, I mean, I had a friend who
You need to get
got
married.
pregnant and she got
saying
pregnant,
that?
and she was from the home that you can't have a child out of wedlock. You must be married.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from a culture like that. I mean, although a lot of people say it's very ancient and people don't follow that anymore, but I know the parents I've got. So her case was she was a few weeks pregnant or a few months pregnant, and she had to do it. Like, you just have to do the wedding.
Yeah.
As long as the baby hasn't popped out before you said your I do's, then you're all good. So in this case, that's where weddings really become priority, because a lot of people are like, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that, and we have a lot of things that we need to do, and so
I mean, I mean, look, like, this is the thing, especially when you come from a very conservative household. You may not be a conservative person, but your household is conservative. Well, yeah, that begs the question. You have to. I mean, it's a matter of life or death. You don't. I mean, if you do, you're gonna get killed by your parents.
And you can't exactly just tell them that you don't care what they think.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the end, if anything happens, the only people you can rely on to have your back is your family.
Preach. That
so
is
I'm not of the opinion of I'll do whatever I want. They can just all go to hell or whatever. No, because in the end, if you're in trouble, if anything happens to you, who are you gonna call? It's your family.
That is definitely true. That is 100% right there. And anyways, though, it is about that time of the day. I mean, you got me up guard. That's true. Family. That's another discussion for another day. But family is very important. And you always have to take care of their families and all of that. And to keep your family safe, well, make sure you get vaccinated. And you're vaccinated. I mean, I think you got both of the jabs. Is that right?
I'm actually tell you what, I've been receiving messages. Laura, it's time to book your second dose of vaccine. I'm like, I've heard you already. I'm gonna do that. I will do it. I'll get mine as soon as possible. My second.
I think we should be a little bit more responsible. We're preaching about getting vaccinated. I think the NHS is.
Tell you what, the only issue I have now is the day that I'm supposed to get vaccinated happens to be the time I'm supposed to go for a party, like a small household, party. And I don't want. I know how I felt when I had the first vaccine. I wish this one was another day. So if I have the same effects, it's not gonna ruin the day,
Wow. But I think you can sacrifice one party for a vaccine. I don't know.
Oh, it's my sister's
You're looking at
party, so it's my sister's birthday party that day.
Then that's gonna be a hard one. I understand then. Yeah. I mean,
it's barbecue, so nah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna miss out on that chicken either. If I were you. Wow. Anyways,
we'll make it work.
Anyways, though, it is about that time of the day that we wrap things up here and we head on out of here. But don't worry, we'll be catching you guys again tomorrow, same time, same place, only here on Relaks Radio. That is from 3 to 6 on Real Talk. So make sure you guys keep it locked with me, Nick, and we got Laura. And with that. What was that?
I don't know. It's just something I picked from Korean movies. I just like doing that.
And
I just told everyone now that I watch Korean movies. Oh my god!
Wow. My sister. You and my sister might be the best of friends. Yeah, she's all over Korean. You know what? I'm not even gonna start on that. I'm gonna wrap up the show right now. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys again tomorrow. So make sure you guys keep it locked right here on Relaks Radio. My name is Nick,
and I'm Laura. Bye.
And we are out of here.